Dear brothers, good morning. What's happening, boys? We're gonna have a nice, short, sweet conversation today. I feel like I've been using the word short and sweet a whole bunch recently. Got my coffee, a little bean mug. We're having some. It's a beautiful morning. But I had a little bit of a reminder about the importance of being a touch slower to judgment recently that I think is probably worth sharing today. And I was came across a dude I used to know a long time ago. And historically speaking, not the greatest human in the world. Done some pretty out there things, some not great things, and was always pretty acted like they never happened, or, he was good at hiding it. And he certainly said that he wasn't doing it. He was hypocritical in that sense. But recently came across him and, saw that he'd flipped his life around. He was, started a family, which I would have never thought remotely possible. Had a good job, was going to a church locally where he lives. It just seemed like all of that was together. And unfortunately, the first thing that came to my mind was there's no way that guy's doing that. He's got to be cheating on his wife. He's probably not a great dad. That dude stole from a bunch of people. He can't be that great in business. And I'm those were just those quick, in that microsecond where you look at something and you start judging it. Just those quick first thoughts based on what I had known previously. And knowing that he was such a hypocrite in the past about what he was saying and doing. And so naturally I investigated a little bit more because I have no idea. I guess I was falling into the trap that I talked to you guys about last week, where once you start scrolling and you go down a rabbit hole. But this one maybe is worth it because I think the message might actually be worthwhile for us today. And I basically came to find out that the guy was really turned his life around. He'd gone through, some rehabs and really focused on his career. Hadn't had a sip of alcohol in multiple years, and just tightened his life up. He was kind of going off the deep end, and he was kind of a dick once upon a time. And now all of a sudden, he's a good man with a family and a job, and a good job at that, and providing, is involved in a church body, amongst other things. Looked like he was in good shape. And I kind of asked a couple of folks and kept looking into it, and he really changed his life around. And so that seems like a simple story, but I think oftentimes, we're always quick to judge people, but we're very quick to judge people that we view as hypocritical. And there's some importance to that. I mean, if we see somebody, we look at politicians who do it all the time. They say one thing, they do another, especially if they say something that they wouldn't do and then they do it, which is a really special group that we have over there in DC. But my point being is that yes, most of the time we should call out hypocrisy and look at it and be like, hey, that's you said this, you did this. That's not how that works. But I think it's important that in manners of dealing with other people that are around us or that we meet, that if they look like they've made a big change in their life, but their history tells us that they're a hypocrite, be slow to judge that. In fact, if you know them at all or know them in a good way, ask them about it. I see no issue with that. And it's something that I've tried to do a little bit, where I know somebody's changed in some capacity. They're doing something that they said that they would, or that their actions have showed me that they would never do. I go, okay, why are you doing that? Usually you've been a hypocrite in the past. You've said this, you've done that. Are you changing, or are you just still a hypocrite and you're just putting on a new coat and acting like it's something special? And I think that that's important because it allows for us to give people some level of grace, which is missing in the world oftentimes, is that we are so quick to take somebody that does something that we deem wrong, throw them in the trash can, and they never come back out. If that was the case for all of us, if you looked into your own closet of things that you've done in your life or the times that you were a hypocrite, and someone said, oh, well, you're going to do that for the rest of the time, that's not great. And it's not true. All of us are worthy. All of us are given grace, and we should give grace to others who seem to have fallen outside of that. I know that seems like obviously Jackson kind of thing, but I think all of us are so quick to judge other people based on a lot of things. A lot of that is our own lack of self-esteem and confidence in a lot of ways. But we should be very careful about what we're saying and how we're saying it, especially in our own heads. You see somebody that's being a hypocrite and you start doing what I did, where I'm just like, oh, no way. That guy's got to be cheating on his wife. That guy's got to be, a terrible dad. Like, the guy never even liked kids. He stole from people. He didn't do his work. Like, there's no way that guy's a good worker. Like, he's going to church. Absolutely no shot that guy goes to church. Because my evidence to that point didn't show that. However, I should also have enough grace and patience to be like, hey, you know what? Maybe they've changed. Maybe they're on to, they've made the things that are necessary. Which leads to a second point that's important here. As cool as it is, or important as it is, if you will, to look at that and assess it and make that point of like being slow to judge people, the first thing that we should be thinking about is, why are we judging in the first place when we have so many things internally and personally that we should be working on? I do like the idea that, when I look at, what other people do or something that I would deem bad, I think to myself, yeah, well, look how much bad that I've done in my life. Who am I to judge somebody else with the amount of hypocrisy and skeletons that are in my own closet? I mean, I should be spending all my time there, getting my own house in order before I start judging someone else's home. So I understand that a part of life is interacting with people and getting to know people and, assessing them and taking in all this information, because it helps to, create your, how you function in society. However, we do spend probably far too much time looking at other people. And I think some of that comes down to us not being comfortable in our own skin and in our own life. And so I want you guys to reflect on that a little bit today. Nothing wild, but be slow to judge, especially people that seem hypocritical. And most importantly, before you start judging at all, take a look in the mirror. Where are you falling short? And what can you do about it? And focus on that and let them worry about what they've got to worry about. Simple. I love you all. God bless. Be strong. Let's get after it today, boys. See you.